The sound of the Secretary General that is now being slammed by the Israeli ambassador, where the Secretary General is now, the ambassador is calling for his resignation.
Everyone knows the mainstream media is nothing but a bunch of lies, but what finally brought down CNN were their lies and bias on COVID because of the corruption they had with the pharmaceutical industry. And I think what's going to finally bring Fox News down completely is going to be this Israel at war narrative, full of their bias and lies, which is due to the corruption involved in their Zionist control.
After he appears to justify the surprise attack by Hamas on October 7th. Let's listen here back to back.
It is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing.
Mr. Secretary General.
But the only way that you're going to know about the bias in Fox News is if you were able to see the clip in its context, like I'm going to show you here, because you get your news from TikTok or some other source, because the mainstream media is more interested in constructing a narrative out of this than they are about reporting to you what happened.
I have condemned unequivocally the horrifying and unprecedented 7 October acts of terror by Hamas in Israel. Nothing can justify the deliberate killing, injuring, and kidnapping of civilians or the launching of rockets against civilian targets. All hostages must be treated humanely and released immediately and without conditions. And I respectfully note the presence among us of members of their families. Excellencies, it is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing. But the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
Because now you can see what the UN Secretary actually said was incredibly reasonable, balanced, and fair. Any level-headed person would think the same way. So given how reasonable that was, what part of his speech has actually got them calling for his resignation?
To ease epic suffering, make the delivery of aid easier and safer, and facilitate the release of hostages, I reiterate my appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire.
In what world do you live? Definitely, this is not our world. Saturday, October 7th, will go down in history as nothing less than a brutal massacre.
And you, Mr. Secretary General, have lost all morality and impartiality. I think that the Secretary General must resign.
I'm here taking his remarks as justifying the terrorism, blaming the savage, barbaric savagery and murder by the terrorists of Hamas. Let me read to you a little bit of what the UN ambassador has tweeted out. He said, quote, this is...
Did the Secretary General condemn Hamas in any way, yes or no?
I have condemned unequivocally the horrifying and unprecedented 7 October acts of terror by Hamas in Israel.
He talked about terrorism and this sort of thing, but this is one of the issues that we've had here at the United Nations in which...
Okay, but did he condemn Hamas, yes or no? Yes, he did, over and over again. But you don't care, right? You just want to get back to what happened on October 7th and ignore everything that's happened since then. You're so grateful that happened so that you could achieve your goals of destroying all the Palestinians' lives, displacing 2 million people. What's going on in the West Bank? What does that have to do with what happened over in Gaza? Oh, nothing. It's just it's just good time to just go in and do what. There's no Hamas in the West Bank, right? But no, it's the October 7th. Let's get back to October 7th. Let's get back to January 6th. Let's get back to wearing a mask. Your bias, your lies, your bullshit are on full display for the American people to analyze with our brains and go, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's this propaganda bullshit? Because guess what? We don't have a dog in the fight. This is not our war. This is not our fight. This is not our problem. Why are you Fox News alert? You should be so concerned about what the UN thinks about what Israel's doing. He should resign. No. See? No, we're not for war. We're not for all this propaganda bullshit you're shoving down our throats. This will be the end of Fox News. Just like CNN had ended itself. This will be the end of Fox News.